If you think the 2026 World Cup match between France and Norway is just a 90-minute football match, you are missing the macro chart. So this match is going to define the dominance for Group A. Is Kylian Mbappé versus Erling Haaland. But it isn't just only that, it's also Bitcoin versus financial fidelity. France is a team that is based on Kylian Mbappé. He's the forward of Real Madrid and he is one of the top strikers in the world. On the other hand, Erling Haaland has the record for the fastest 50 UEFA Champions League goals, and also he has remained as a king in the Premier League, where he scored a record-breaking 36 goals on 35 matches. So in this game between France and Norway, there is a huge debate on who is going to win the Golden Boot. Now, Kylian Mbappé is a perfect example for the Canton effect. Basically, this is a financial concept that defines that all the transactions are focusing on just one spot. It's like when Kylian Mbappé is going to hit the ball and score a goal for France. It's the same like that. But Erling Haaland is more like a peer-to-peer transaction. Basically, he is a physical striker that passes the ball with his teammates, like Sorloth, that is another striker. They are two very good strikers. Sorloth is a striker that plays for Atletico de Madrid, but obviously the world star is Erling Haaland. They go peer-to-peer and they will try to score a goal. Now, there is something we need to consider. Basically, this is a decisive match for Group A. If Kylian Mbappé makes a win for France, there's a huge probability they are going to be the leaders of Group I. Now, there are some things we need to consider. For example, in the match between France and Senegal, both teams were 0-0 in the first 75 minutes. After that period of time came through, both teams started to score goals. So there is a huge probability the game between France and Norway is going to repeat the same story. They will try to defend each other in the first minutes, but in the end of the match we will see a lot of goals. It's the same as the layer 1 of Bitcoin. Basically, it was sophisticated and also very small, and people didn't know about this layer. But when layer 2 came through, more people tried to invest their money on Bitcoin. It's the same as the match between France and Norway. People are going to avoid making bets on the first minutes because it's very unpredictable. But in the end, there is a tendency that this match will have a lot of goals by the end of the match. There are some popular celebrities that are going to be in this match. For example, Zinedine Zidane, that is a top scorer for France. He's remembered for being one of the most creative midfielders, and he has a record-breaking goal with a volley for making a wins for France. Also, he has a polemic where Zinedine Zidane heard that another striker talked about his mother, and then he used his head to strike the one that talk bad about his mother. So France has a lot of things going on, but also we don't have to forget about the top-notch Norway team. Norway is a team that comes from scoring a lot of goals against another team of the Group A. So they are with full confidence, and there is a huge probability they are going to give their best against France. We need to look France like Bitcoin in their first steps. It was consolidated. No one talked about Bitcoin, but after some years, like the 28th World Cup, when they won, Bitcoin has consolidated as the top cryptocurrency in the market. It has a staggering market cap of over $1 trillion. It's the same as France. France is a team that moves the liquidity of the market, that moves the strategies between different clubs and also countries. So basically, France is very decisive in this World Cup, and they are the favorite. Spain used to be the favorite, but since that draw against Cabo Verde, there's a huge probability France is going to end up winning this World Cup in the USA. So France will be in the United States trying to take the leadership of the Group A, winning against Norway. Now, Norway is more like the Federal Financial Reserve Bank. Basically, they print a lot of goals with Erling Haaland, but when the market is inflationary, there are some things we need to consider, like for example, how's the backup of that currency. Is the same with Norway. How's the backup with the defenders? Are they good enough to stop Kylian Mbappé, Michael Olise, and Dembélé? We need to consider a lot of things with that. For example, in the Champions League, Dembélé comes from being twice winner of the UEFA Champions League. They won against Arsenal. Basically, Kivicha Kvaratskhelia, that unfortunately it is in this World Cup, made a penalty in the area of Arsenal, and they were able to score in the penalty shot. So France are with full confidence, and Dembélé even more, because with his club Paris Saint-Germain, he comes from a win. On the other hand, Manchester City lost against Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League. They were defeated with a hat-trick of Federico Valverde, that is an Uruguayan football player. Federico Valverde has a very good momentum, but also he has a scandal against Alex Baena. Basically, There was an scandal with Federico Valverde and Alex Baena, where Alex Baena was talking about the mother of Federico Valverde for a long period of time. And after the match, Federico Valverde was so angry that he was in the parking lot and he struck a lot of punches against Alex Baena, a player of Villarreal, of the also known as Submarino Amarillo. So then Alex Baena contacted the Spanish police and he made an official police claim that he received a punch from Federico Valverde. So basically the felony was aggressiveness from Federico Valverde. So basically Federico Valverde had a huge problem, a legal problem with Alex Baena, but finally this police claim was filed because there wasn't enough evidence to go against Federico Valverde. Now, there are also some things we need to consider. Manchester City lost in the Champions League, but also if we talk about the Premier League, they also came second because Arsenal ended up winning the Premier League. This is unfortunately for Haaland because he is, I would say, if not the best, the second best striker in all the world. He is a machine of making goals. He's similar to a hashing machine of Bitcoin. He scored a lot of goals and he fabricated a lot of goals against any club. It doesn't matter that is a good big club or a small club. Erling Haaland always end up scoring goals. There's a huge probability that Erling Haaland is going to score at least one goal against France. So in one hand we have Dembele, that is 2 times Champions League winner, but an Erling Haaland that had his team disqualified of Champions League, and also he didn't end up winning the Premier League. So maybe there is a morality factor that we need to consider for this match. Also, we need to look Norway as a team that is like a hard-proof Bitcoin cryptocurrency exchange. Basically, Norway has a lot of things going on. For example, they have very tall players. Erling Haaland is 195 centimeters. So there's a huge probability the defenders are going to have a tough time with Erling Haaland headers. The defense of France isn't as good as it was before. For example, in the past, France had defenders like Patrice Evra or Koscielny, but they are retired now. Now they have defenders like Mendy or Theo Hernandez that aren't in their prime years like before. So Erling Haaland will have a good chance to score a goal against France. If we look within the statistics of each team, Norway comes from scoring a brace against another team, and France also comes from scoring a brace another team. So both teams are in a good momentum. For example, there are some things we need to consider with France. For example, their resilience. Ousmane Dembélé was a player that was a star in Borussia Dortmund, but when he was signed by Barcelona, his level dropped a lot. Then he moved to Paris Saint-Germain and he ended up winning a Ballon d'Or. So he didn't feel bad when he lost against a lot of teams in Barcelona and he wasn't giving the best performance. He came through and started winning with Paris Saint-Germain. The same is with Michael Olise. He used to be a player that was at Crystal Palace and he was denied by a lot of clubs. But when he arrived to Bayern Munich, his level increased drastically. Now he is between one of the right wingers more valued in all the world. So this is a good factor we need to consider in fans. Resilience. Now if we look with Norway, I would say a factor we need to consider with Norway is toughness, because Norway had very physical players like Erling Haaland, that is a physical forward. He used his massive strength and height to score a lot of goals. In this part of the video, I'm going to remember a moment that happened between Erling Haaland and Dominic Szoboszlai. Basically, there is a match between Liverpool and Manchester City where Dominic Szoboszlai and Erling Haaland were running for the ball, but Dominic Szoboszlai fabricated a red card, so the goal against Erling Haaland is disqualified. Basically, this was a master play, and I think the defenders of France are going to apply the same strategy to disqualify some goals of Erling Haaland. Let's look at France. If we look at France's squad, as I said before, the defenders aren't in good shape right now. They rely on their attackers. So it's the same as when Bitcoin reached its maximum level of $150,000 and then it decreased its value a lot. It's basically the same. France was the 28th World Cup winner, but then he was defeated against Argentina in a polemic final. Kylian Mbappé was able to score a hat-trick in the 2022 World Cup against Argentina, but this wasn't enough because Argentina ended up winning in the penalty shot. So it's the same as Bitcoin. Bitcoin reached its all-time high in 2024, but now his value is even less than $60,000. It's approximately $58,40,37. So Bitcoin isn't in a good spot right now. For example, in the most popular exchange in the world, Binance, I invest in Bitcoin, but I invest in Binance Future, opening a sell position on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is bearish right now and there's a huge probability it's going to continue bearish. So what's your thought about France and Norway? Do you think France is going to become the king of Paris, or Norway is going to be the Viking Kings of the Group E. Give me a like and write your opinion on the comments. Thank you for this video, and I hope you will enjoy watching my analysis of France versus Norway and how this relates to the cryptocurrency world.